Welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio, a place where dreams take flight, with authentic storytelling, diverse perspectives and meaningful conversations, where global stories unite and bridges are built beyond all borders. Discover world-class education, entertainment, hope and inspiration. Together, we're building bridges worldwide. Subscribe to our channel, USA Global TV. Download our app, USA Global TV. Be our guest or join our team. Visit usaglobaltv.com. Thanks to our founder and executive producer, Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Music score by Yeffy Tang from Cloud Road Music. Voiceover artist Mike Porter. Creative direction by Paul Garcia. USA Global TV and Radio, your home for global connection. All rights reserved. This video and its contents are the exclusive property of USA Global TV and Radio. Unauthorized use, duplication or redistribution in any form is strictly prohibited.
Welcome to Talking Heads on USA Global TV and Radio, where wisdom meets experience. Join a dynamic lineup of thought leaders, professionals, and changemakers from around the world. Dr. Madeline Chan from the UK. Mariska Duprea from Australia, red.olaughlin from Texas, USA, Carolyn Heward from the UK, Zunette Lub from Cape Town, South Africa, as they share expert insights, personal journeys, and impactful strategies for success. Talking Heads isn't just a show, it's a global stage for education, collaboration, and inspiration. So elevate your knowledge, expand your perspective, engage in conversations that matter. Streaming globally, empowering locally, this is Talking Heads, only on USA Global TV and Radio.
red.olaughlin here. We're on Talking Heads on the USA Global TV and Radio Network. Today my topic is the vagus nerve and longevity. It's a lot of slides today, so I'm going to try not to speed it up too much, but I do want to try to cover everything. So let's go ahead and get my slides going, and we'll start into this thing right now. Vagus nerve and longevity. We're going to talk about the vagus nerve, what it does, how it works, how we can reset it, restore it, revitalize it. All these shows live streaming are seen on Amazon Fire, Zizzle TV, E360 TV, YouTube, a couple channels there. Android TV, Apple TV, social media. I have a couple simulcasts going on my personal and business Facebook channels, and there's a lot more. All of the presentations that I do in regard to health and wellness are all for education and awareness. My website is red.olaughlin.com. That's red, just like the color, R-E-D, Olaughlin, O-L-A-U-G-H-L-A-N, red.olaughlin.com. All my contact information is there, books, videos, everything is there. YouTube channel, go to USA Global TV and Radio. You'll find all the live shows and the archives. I also have some archive shows on my red.olaughlin.com website. I'm a researcher. Never been in the medical or pharmaceutical fields, but I fell in love with chemistry. Sophomore year in high school, I loved it so much I got a degree in it. I also got 4 additional degrees, all in different subjects, nothing dealing with chemistry. 7 professional certifications. So the Navy for 31 years, been to 62 countries. Navy captain, retired, naval aviator, flew for 16 years. I researched the human body at the cellular level, chemically speaking. I look for cause and effect relationships. Treat a cause, fix a problem. Treat symptoms, and you'll always be treating symptoms. But the big thing is that cause, depending what it is, if the body can't handle it, it could get worse. Been married 57 years, a couple kids, 3 grandkids, and we had 1 great grandson about over a year and a half ago now. Best-selling author, several books, independent publisher, done over 50 books for other authors. Distinguished Toastmaster, writer. I have written over 1,000 original content articles on LinkedIn. On the program here on the USA Global TV and Radio Network, I'm an international TV host. Last year I was number 2 and number 6 in a couple different fields. This year I was the number 1 host for the first 6 months of 2025. Okay, I think we're ready to get into vagus nerve and longevity. I wrote a book on longevity called Longevity Secrets to Healthy Aging. How to live to 100 years of age with the body of a healthy 50-year-old and the mind of a 25-year-old. Talks about a couple different aspects of what causes longevity to happen And there's actually a lot more than that, but I covered two. I'm in the process of writing it. I'll follow up to that one. But everything I write about, speak about, is for information and educational purposes only. Let's see if we can get started now in our program. Okay, what is the vagus nerve? What does it do? How does it work? What disrupts it? What health issues are associated with it? Can I reset it? How do you reset it? Can I enhance it a little bit? And to me, what's important, what are the interactions what are the interactions at the cellular level? These are the things I plan on presenting today in my program. So what is the vagus nerve? Essentially, it's the body's superhighway for health. It influences the heart, lungs, mood, digestion, longevity. More than that, we'll get into a little bit more detail. It's the 10th cranial nerve connecting our brain to the rest of our body. It touches literally every major system in our body. It directly affects our heart, our lungs, our spleen, intestines, liver, pancreas, kidneys, throat. 80% of the communications are from our organs back to our brain. 20% are from our brain responding back to the organs, telling them what to do. So the body is constantly telling the brain, what's going on down here? And then the brain says, okay, oh, wait, take care of this. And so it's the superhighway that connects our brain to everything else that's going on in our body. So when everything's happy-go-lucky, we're in really good shape. When things aren't so good, we're not happy campers. So let's take a look at a couple of the systems. In the cardiovascular system, you're basically monitoring heart rate and blood pressure. Those are the two things that is really critical. So I'm looking at a response is going to be, if I'm stressed out, I'm going to increase my blood pressure, increase my pulse rate. If I'm going to have different heart rate variability, that stuff is taken care of by the vagus nerve. Our lungs, our respiratory system, our breathing rate, and our depth of breathing. So when I get my vagus nerve involved and it's talking about things and something happens, I get stressed out, maybe my oxygenation levels increase. But when things are going away, I relax a little bit better. It's a constant monitoring and response. So what's happening to us internally and externally, and the brain telling our body, do this in order to alleviate that situation or to rest after a very tiring situation. The digestive system, peristalsis, that's the flow of our nutrients through our gut. It's an involuntary response. It just, these are the motions of the gut pushing stuff through our system. So we have peristalsis. We have enzyme secretions. We have gut motility. How fast is stuff down? How well do we absorb our nutrients? You can buy it in a pill, not necessarily the best way of doing something, or you can get it from the real source. Sometimes a pill doesn't have very bioavailable composition, such as calcium carbonate versus calcium citrate. And so if I'm getting the right nutrients, I have gut motility underway, enzymes are there, I end up with a situation where maybe under normal conditions, if things weren't working so well, I'd end up with bloating. So it reduces bloating. Immune system. And this is the number one protection for our body. So I have inflammation control. Our cells, every single cell in our body, every DNA, everything is under attack 24/7. Our body has some level of control through our immune system to control that inflammatory response. Literally 99% of all disease is caused by cellular low-level chronic inflammation. You end up with inflammation that causes DNA damage, causes mutations that can't be fixed right, ends up as oxidation, ends up as a beginning level of disease. So with the digestive system, part of the vagus nerve is to regulate cytokines. Now, we've heard about the cytokine explosion with the that pandemic, where everything just gets overwhelmed and all of a sudden people have all sorts of problems. But the cytokine is a response, that part of it's protein response from our immune system. It says, go out there and calm things down. So we're looking at infection, inflammation, defense. It activates this thing as a cholinergic anti-inflammatory pathway. So this pathway from our immune system says, slow down, take care. Just really, really slow things down a bit. So I activate that, and I have something that's on top of the inflammatory stuff that's going on. Central nervous system, we basically controls mood, monitors response to stress, anxiety, depression. It's called you have a central nervous system. One part of it's called the autonomic nervous system. You have a parasympathetic and a sympathetic. Sympathetic is our fight and flight response. Stressed out, we do something, and that just takes care of everything it needs to do. Our digestion shuts down, breathing increases. Everything works in the sympathetic mode. But in a calmer mode, the parasympathetic, the rest, relaxation, is the one. So the central nervous system through the vagus nerve looks at the parasympathetic tone, keeping things low, calm, normal, balanced. Emotional regulation. It involves the wiring, connecting, and controlling everything that's happening in our nervous system. So everything from the emotions that we feel in our brain, we feel in our gut, to our digestion, everything is going through our vagus nerve. Disruptors. Every day is not a good day. I use a term generally every single day. People say, "How are you?" I say, "Excellent as always." Occasionally I'll add in, "Well, some days I'm better." But I do have bad days. They're rare, extremely rare. But a lot of times you can change how you feel by literally just changing the way you think, your mindset. But disruptors happen in many, many different ways. If you look at our lifestyle choices, what we eat, our diet, exercise, stress management, sleep, lots and lots and lots of things are going on that we do every single day. They're choices. And so as they affect our body, it affects this superhighway of health, our vagus nerve. So if I'm chronically stressed, if I'm anxious, if there's some sort of trauma that happened to me, if my diet is chronically poor, if I end up with excessive sugar all the time, if all my choices are processed foods, if my lifestyle is sedentary, if my sleep quality is non-existent, if I'm not taking care of really being careful about environmental toxins, alcohol overdose, overuse, inflammatory fats. These are just way too many vegetable fats. Autoimmune reaction. Lots and lots and lots of things can disrupt our health, our normal body functions, the balance we have to maintain good health, healthy life. So when that starts happening, the vagus nerve is that conduit that sends everything back and forth to the brain. So the brain is responding back to a cardiovascular issue, a digestive issue, a gut issue. And so that's where our vagus nerve is the highway that communicates. So if there's a lot of trash and junk and things aren't working, it's going to affect us. So if I look at my cardiovascular system, well, arrhythmias, how is my heart beating, my skipping beats, hypertension, high blood pressure. So it's a response to a particular heart condition associated. And the vagus nerve is the conduit that the brain says, do this. Our digestive system, irritable bowel syndrome, gastroparesis, acid reflux. Those are things that are common within the digestive world. Mental health can be affected by that because our gut health and our gut is our second brain, and it does definitely connect to our brain. Depression, anxiety, PTSD. We have inflammatory conditions. We're starting to get into the neuro degenerative world. Rheumatoid arthritis, again, that's an autoimmune disease. Inflammatory bowel disease. There's just lots of things that our vagus nerve is just touching on. How are you doing? Okay. So most of the information is coming back and forth, but it's coming through that highway. So you want to keep that highway open and clean. We have metabolic issues. Typically what we see when things are not working well is obesity, insulin resistance. If we have a non-functioning or weakly functioning vagus nerve, we also see a weakened immune system. We see increased inflammation, oxidation, beginning of disease. If you're older in life, you start seeing your risk of age-related diseases increasing. If your insulin resistance is something that's been around for a while, then we start looking at an increased risk of diabetes, other neurodegenerative diseases, your dementia, and other things in those worlds. So what options do you have? Well, you've heard people say, take a deep breath and hold it. Well, I take that a little bit different. I use a little bit of humor there. So take a deep breath and hold it for 30 minutes. Well, That may sound a little funny. I think the actual record for holding your breath underwater is about 16 minutes without having pre-breathing oxygen. If you pre-breathe oxygen, I think they just set a record a month or two back, 29 minutes and some change. So there's a lot to be said for deep breathing, because once you start getting that deep breathing, you're activating your parasympathetic nervous system, which controls your rest, your relaxation, everything in there that you have some level of control. Basically, it can be something as easy as inhaling and exhaling. You inhale, hold it for 5 to 7 seconds, exhale, hold it for 5 to 7 seconds. There's a lot of breathing exercises on YouTube. I like the pranayamas. There's 7 or 8 of them, 7 of them I think I use on a semi-regular basis. But they're there for stress management. They're there for a lot of different things. So find one that you like to do. You can do driving down the car. You're stuck at a red light. You're sitting there during a commercial on TV. Do some breathing exercises. Now, this is something I think is interesting. Cold exposure is not something that we really think about much with regard to being a health issue. But there are cold dunks. I mean, I'm a big fan of saunas and jacuzzis. I love hot. I love heat. I remember the first couple of times I went into a German, what they call a mineral therme, and they have hot everything, but they have these cold baths. And the cold bath can be anything from a huge swimming pool that they keep at 65 degrees to an individual little tank that I can walk down and ladder, and they keep it about 35 degrees. And yes, I've done that, my head underneath. Not a pleasant experience. But I found that in that 45 degree water, I could get in there and literally spend a minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes without much trouble. It took me 2 or 3 or 4 months, actually about 4 months, before I could do that on a regular basis. But cold exposure activates what they call the vagal thermal receptors, which start controlling this parasympathetic nervous system, cooling everything down. So it's an activation of the vagus nerve. So yeah, I could do the same thing if I had something where I could put my face into some water with some ice cubes in it. I just put my face in and just basically shocking my body for that period of time. Okay. Meditation, reducing stress. Again, you're controlling your breathing. You're controlling what you can control with your mind over matter, with your relaxing your muscles or controlling your breathing. This improves your vagal tone. They're saying at least 20 minutes a day. I think the more you do, the easier it is to get into something pretty easily. I use EFT, emotional freedom techniques. For me, when I'm doing those, that's the tapping of the various parts of the body. And when I'm doing the tapping for stress relief or for production planning or whatever I may have going on, to me, I need at least 8 minutes. If I do it for 8 minutes, I'm actually I expect and I see changes. But if I just do it for 5 minutes, I don't. If I do it for 10 or 12 minutes, again, I'm getting reinforced on that 8-minute time frame. So if you want to start something, 20 minutes, that's a reasonable period of time. Set your phone for 20 minutes so you're not looking at anything. Just let the thing go off when it goes off. Because we have the central or vagus nerve running up and down our spine, so to speak. If I'm singing or humming, our vocal cords are actually, they're stimulating the vagal fibers. You hear the term and when you're doing that, you can feel your lips vibrating a little bit. That humming stimulates those fibers, which stimulates the vagus nerve. But I could do the same thing with singing, chanting, any kind of activity in my throat that causes a little bit of vibration. I'm activating that vagal nerve system back there. Yoga, Tai Chi, again, controlled movements, breath control. We're getting into that parasympathetic nervous system, rest. And when I'm starting that thing, then my vagal nerve is the one that's doing, is benefiting. So yoga, Tai Chi, they say 20 to 30 minutes a day, a little bit longer, but maybe people don't have that much time. But every little bit helps. If you can't do 20, 30 minutes a day, do something. Probiotics, gut health is super critical. It's your second brain, as I mentioned earlier. If I'm having communications between my gut and my brain, the vagus nerve is the one that's controlling the pathway. So if I want to have a better gut, probiotics, prebiotics, the kind of gut health that I need is there. Fermented foods, fiber, both soluble and insoluble. Laughter. We talked just a moment ago about being able to activate that throat and getting a little bit of vibration. I start laughing. I activate that laughter mechanism in the throat. It activates my vagus nerve. So social intercourse, relationships, those things. You get a big hug for somebody, releases a lot of oxytocin in the body. That feel-good hormone. Reduces cortisol, the stress hormone. Socializing, part of that social intercourse. Our relationships with other people. If somebody pisses you off, avoid them. There are a lot of ways that we can address that issue. Comedy, again, laughter is a big solution to helping your vagus nerve improve your longevity and your health in general. How do I enhance my vagal tone or my vagal function, my body's autopilot? Basically consistent with the things we need to do. We're talking about our lifestyle choices. Stress management. If I'm meditating, if I'm doing things that manage my parasympathetic nervous system, whatever it may happen to be, I'm reducing the stress, reducing cortisol. I'm improving my vagus nerve so that it has a better place to operate. It's not constantly under stress. Exercise, whether it's cardiovascular, balance, stretching, all types of exercises help. Depending on what you're doing, some exercises are better than others. But the mere fact that you're exercising is the important critical point. Commercials on TV, stand up and do 5 deep knee bends. Every little bit helps. You have 5 commercials during a half-hour show or whatever. Do 5 deep knee bends for each 30-second commercial. There are things you can do while you're just sitting around the house. Balanced nutrition. I've been an advocate of that forever and ever and ever. There's about 30 nutrients the body needs on a daily basis. If we can get them from foods, great. If not, try to get them from whatever pills. I like vitamin K2 and vitamin E. Vitamin E has 8 different chemicals for tocotrienols, for tocopherols. And typically in a pill form, you only get one. It's synthetic. It's worthless. A lot of times you get pills that give you a chemical, like calcium, but they don't give you a bioavailable form of it. So balanced nutrition is really best to start getting as much as you can from your foods. Quality of sleep, super critical because sleep is where your body repairs itself. Cold exposure, we mentioned that a moment ago. Social engagement, our relationships, laughter. There's a little bit of repeat in this because it amplifies and reinforces what we're talking about. So am I controlling my lifestyle choices well? I should end up with better resilience, slower aging, and lower risk for disease, especially age-related diseases. I'm a big proponent into mitochondrial health. Anything I can do to help my mitochondria, that's what I look at. So if I'm looking at a particular aspect of something, well, how does the vagus nerve interface with the mitochondria? Well, that to me is important because that is where your true health starts, right there in your cell. So you look at your mitochondria, you keep it a happy camper, and your cells will keep you happy. So the vagus nerve protects the mitochondria by controlling the blood supply. We already talked about it's right there in the heart. It's controlling things going back and forth. The heart's talking to the brain's talking literally to the entire body. So it's controlling the blood supply. Reducing inflammation and oxidative stress. That's part of your immune system. So again, it's talking to each other. If I have a good immune system, I'm going back and forth, I can control my inflammation. They usually control it through what they call the neurotransmitter acetylcholine. That's that neurogenic thing that I talked about earlier, that it's a pathway that the immune system sends out proteins in order to control and damp down inflammation. Vagal nerve stimulation, that's the stimulation of and other things that we do. So if I can stimulate my vagal nerve by cold, by relaxation, by a number of different things, I can give my mitochondria a better health. In other words, lower the risk of mitochondrial dysfunction. Vagal nervous system, basically our vagus nerve. improves cardiac and cellular function. So I'm looking at my cardiac. I'm getting constant communication back and forth. But when I increase that blood supply, or increase the oxygen flow because of my respiration, I'm getting the cells the nutrients that they need in order to function properly. If I damage my vagus nerve, I end up with lots and lots of issues that can happen because I'm no longer communicating as quickly and as responsibly as I can to my brain. So I end up with increased risk of infections. My immune system isn't operating well. Potential mitochondrial dysfunction, which can end up in a number of other issues. Our vagus nervous system therapy, we can stimulate and protect the mitochondria. And again, it's connected to our gut. So our microbiome is almost a direct contact between our gut and our gut and our brain. So it's a never-ending loop of communication. You okay? You okay? You okay? And then all of a sudden, nope, I'm not. And then, okay, what's wrong? Back and forth. Let's fix it. So the ending in our gut looks at a lot of different things. And so if I'm starting to get an inflamed gut, I have the ability in my brain to say, okay, let's release these enzymes. Let's make these hormones. Whatever I need to do to control my gut health, my brain is responding to the signal coming from my gut back to my brain. The VNS promotes gut health by dampening inflammation, again, through your immune system. 80% of your gut is your immune system. So when you're eating something and your nutrients, let's say calcium, just to pick one because we talked about it earlier, it gets into your gut, it's bioavailable, it'll pass through very, very tiny microscopic holes in the wall of the intestine. It goes through the immune system before it gets into the bloodstream. So if I end up with issues in my gut that's causing other problems, now I start affecting my immune system. But right now, if everything is working well, I use my immune system to kind of dampen down inflammatory effects in my gut. Low vagal tone has been linked to irritable bowel syndrome and inflammatory bowel disease. They have very similar symptoms, but the causes are different for both. So if you're having a gut issue and you think it might be one of the two, look it up, make sure you know what's causing that. You're going to go talk to your doctor. He may want to know, he or she may want to know, well, what are some of the things you're doing that may cause IBD or may cause IBS? And if you understand what those causes are, you're well ahead of the program. Okay, just about on time for where I want to be. One of my favorite parts of the body is autophagy. The vagus nerve is directly involved in autophagy and mTOR, mammalian target of rapamycin. The autophagy, okay, let's say it influences both. So let's just jump to the next slide because I have both definitions there. Okay, autophagy. It's a system our body has of cleaning itself, cleaning the cells. I say, imagine you're living in a house, somebody delivers all the food, but you're never allowed to take the trash out. The air conditioner breaks, the Wi-Fi quits. You're not allowed to have anybody come in and fix anything. You're not allowed to take any trash out. You're in that house, that's it. Well, it's something in our cells. Our bodies are constantly working. The cells produce just normal process of working, operation, produces trash and garbage. Sometimes you have damage occurring to certain proteins. You have a lot of things in there. And autophagy is a system that the body starts at about 16 to 18 hours of fasting. It turns on the switch and you're at about the 1% level. And 1% all the way up to about 72 hours, and now you're about 100%. So from that 16 to 72, you're increasing autophagy as you're going through without eating any food or drinking anything. I'm talking about anything with calories, something that has a metabolic response. So during that time, autophagy happens. The cells are cleaned. Any proteins in there that are damaged are repaired. Everything is given back. It's like somebody comes in, cleans your entire house, fixes everything that's wrong. Now all of a sudden you walk back in, my goodness, everything's just, it's the way everything should be. But if you never fast, these cells are accumulating damage over time. And whether it be your brain cells that you have accumulated, broken, tangled, whatever, you need some level periodic cleaning. So if I can clean them out, fine. Now, some people never get them clean. They lived 100 years of age. Now, everybody's different. Our immune systems work amazing ways. But autophagy is something that happens on purpose because we typically don't fast. The other half of the equation is what they call mTOR, mammalian or mechanistic nowadays target of rapamycin. It promotes our growth. It controls our energy. It's there to synthesize proteins when we need it. It's basically a growth promoter. So when I'm a toddler, I'm just overdoing mTOR because my body needs to grow. I get up to about 20 years of age, my body's pretty much grown. Now I'm in that balance between autophagy and mTOR, but nobody ever tells us that. So all of a sudden now I just start ignoring autophagy and I'm in the mTOR mode for the rest of my life because I don't fast. I do a 72-hour fast every month. That's just something I did a few years before the COVID thing. And I find it relatively easy most of the time. Every so often I have difficulty, but I do 72. And I literally, if I'm awake and I'm fasting, I'm constantly monitoring how I'm feeling. Yeah, I may get a hunger spike for time. If I can't get rid of it with some water, okay, maybe I'm hungry. I eat. But I'll do 100 hours, 150 hours. I've done a couple 100 hours a couple times. But the mTOR is the part where I'm no longer fasting. It's my normal life I'm eating. So I'm looking at trying to balance mTOR and autophagy. But when I activate my vagus nerve and I'm lowering cortisol and my stress, I'm looking at somehow trying to balance low cortisol, low stress, keep my mTOR activity low, enhance my autophagy with occasional fasting. Now I'm in that good area of being able to do the things my body needs in order to keep it clean, healthy, and vibrant. So my vagal nervous system, neural system stimulates acetylcholine release, which in turn it inhibits what we call the cytokines. These are the proteins our immune system uses to communicate. So if I send out a response, I have a couple cytokines. They're called TNF, tumor necrosis factor alpha, and interleukin 6, and these are protein. These are cytokines that want to cause more inflammation. Well, my immune system wants to calm them down a little bit, so I'll release some acetylcholine, and it has a tendency. Okay, let's get this under control. So I'm seeing inflammation at the body level. It's going to my brain. The brain says, okay, activate that. Boom, it happens. And so when I start doing that, I have these inhibition of these pro-inflammatory cytokines. It also promotes mitophagy. Now, we talked about autophagy, which is a cellular cleaning. Mitophagy is the actual cleaning of the mitochondria, a subset of autophagy. Again, I'm looking at improved health. My VNS, brain support, I'm looking at how do I support my microbiome diversity? Well, if I'm eating the right kinds of foods, fermented foods, etc., then I can control some level of that. Some people take probiotics and prebiotics, but if you're taking an antibiotic, you destroyed your entire gut system. Anytime you're on an antibiotic, please talk to your doctor about when can you start taking a probiotic in order to get your gut back into some semblance of normalcy. We've talked in the past about AMPK and sirtuin pathways. These are pathways that, they're basically master regulators of our energy balance, our stress response, and eventually our longevity. So if they're activated, I know I have things that are going out there doing good things for me. So that's what I want to have happen. I want to have the right pathways operating cleanly. And when I do that, it enhances autophagy in the body. I can stop eating completely. That's prolonged fasting. I can eat less often per day, once a day, twice a day within a certain window, 6 hours. That's intermittent fasting. Or I can also cut back on the number of calories that I'm actually eating, which now means instead of, let's say, 1,000 calories a day, maybe I'm eating 600 a day. I cut back on the number of calories. All of that suppresses mTOR, which is that growth cycle. Now, everything is fine in its own normal way, but when we overregulate things, that's when we start seeing a problem. So when I start doing the different kinds of fasting and calorie restriction, my autophagy is upregulated, means it's enhanced, and it starts supporting our longevity and reducing our age-related disease. But I'm looking for a balance between my mTOR and my autophagy. I end up with better cell health, reduced inflammation, and again, increased longevity. Chronic stress, something that we can take care of. It's not what happens to us, it's what we reach out and grab hold of. So let go of it, let it go. But if I have chronic stress, I'm starting to look at my vagal nerve hypoactivity. It was less than normal. Chronic cortisol, insulin, they overstimulate. Again, here's the area, overstimulate mTOR, which is an area we don't want to overstimulate, we want balance. Autophagy is suppressed, damaged proteins accumulate. We end up with inflammation-induced vagal suppression. Our vagus nerve is kind of not working right. Gut dysbiosis, that's where everything is in disarray. It impairs our signaling, our communications within the body. The brain is not getting the communications it needs to get in order to make good decisions. So I end up with a impaired vagus nerve, inability to regulate my immune system, potential risk of obesity, insulin resistance, hyperglycemia. It's an overuse of sugar, can blunt the tone of our vagus nerve, which results in mitochondrial dysfunction. Poor vagal tone also can increase protein aggregates in the cell, our alpha-synuclein, alpha beta proteins, which can lead to dementia and other dementia-like issues with neurodegenerative diseases. What options do I have for improved health? We've talked about a couple of them already, but let me run back through them quickly. Deep, slow breathing, humming, singing, meditation, not medication, that should be meditation. Cold exposure. Improved vagal tone also happens when you have intermittent fasting, prolonged fasting, calorie restriction. We increase our autophagy, decrease our mTOR. Polyphenols are our fruits and vegetables. Fiber, both soluble and insoluble. Omega-3. You really need at least as much omega-3 as you have omega-6. They're both essential fatty acids. Our bodies don't make them. We need them. We get them from the foods we eat. But the omega-3 is the one that supports everything that we really need for a lot of different functions in the body. Probiotics, prebiotics, we activate our AMPK pathway. Short-chain fatty acid production increases. Our gut health improves. Getting down the last couple of slides here. Time-wise, it looks good. Light, sunlight, infrared in particular, circadian rhythm. They talk about being able to go out and spend 10 minutes in morning sunlight, be able to synchronize all aspects of your body. In this particular case, we're talking about the vagus nerve. So it synchronizes your vagal nerve to your metabolic rhythms, and it favors a balance in both autophagy and in mTOR. Exercising, aerobic resistance training, those are two that specifically improve. So any kind of weightlifting, any kind of body, weight exercises, some level of aerobic, maybe just something, even walking sometimes, if you're walking at a brisk pace, you pick up your heart rate just a little bit. Those are things that enhance vagal tone. Our vagus nerve, again, is the master regulator of our systemic homeostasis. In other words, I want to be in balance. Things happen. This comes out of balance a little bit. Let's get back into it. And so the body talks to the brain, tells us what's going on. The brain shoots the response back down through the vagus nerve. So that vagus nerve is there to be the backbone, literally the backbone of how everything works in the body. So I would ask myself, if I'm experiencing bloating, well, it may be something I eat. But if I'm seeing it for more than a day, chances are it's not something I eat. There's something else going on. If I have a delay, in other words, I eat something and I'm not going to the bathroom for a couple days, it's a clue. There's something going on. I should be going to the bathroom most every day, a couple times a day, depending on what you're eating, how much fiber is there, a number of other functions. If I'm eating a lot of, say, protein only and protein and fat, I try to maintain a semi low carb diet. I take extra fiber. If I have difficulty swallowing, again, the throat issue. I have irritable bowels, fainting. If my blood pressure is constantly high, if I get migraines, seizures, if I have any kind of autoimmune issue, depression, anxiety, if I have problems speaking, again, an issue in the throat, if I'm fatigued all the time, talk to a professional, because there might be some involvement of your vagus nerve that if we treat it early, that's great for you. So take care, y'all. Catch y'all next week. Bye now.
Thank you, viewers and listeners of USA Global TV and Radio, for joining us today. We're honored to have your time and attention as part of our global community. At USA Global TV and Radio, we believe in the power of authentic conversations, meaningful connections, and creating a world of possibilities together. Want to be part of something bigger? Join our team of elevated listeners at usaglobaltv.com, a space where your voice matters and your ability to listen transforms relationships. Stay connected with us across all our platforms for thought-provoking discussions, expert insights, and empowering stories. Subscribe to our channels at youtube.com/c/usaglobaltv. Follow us on social media and explore the endless opportunities we're creating for growth, learning, and inspiration. Together, we're not just broadcasting, we're building bridges and changing lives one conversation at a time. For inquiries, contact us at info@usaglobaltv.com. Music by Johnny Dies. Produced by Executive Producer and Director Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Voiceover by Mike Porter. Creative Direction by Paul Garcia. All rights reserved. Copyright 2025. Visit usaglobaltv.com to view our full terms and conditions.